and welcome to another episode of The Focal Thought. My guest today is Roberto Carroll. How are you, Roberto?
I'm good. I'm good. Yourself?
Good, good. Thanks again for coming on the show. I'm excited to speak with you. So, you are the CEO and team leader with Keller Williams Advantage. And I got to meet you recently, and it was fascinating meeting you because the first thing I noticed was your energy level. You're very vibrant, you're very positive. And I think that's one of the central attributes to being a CEO. I mean, if you look at, the standard resume qualifications for a CEO compared to a standard, C executive suite position, it outnumbers it from maybe 20 to 30 functions compared to maybe, 5 to 10 functions. You're doing everything from, setting up your day, setting up your agenda. You're looking at the holistic strategy of the company, the brand, the vision. You're looking at your immediate staff. You're also looking at your frontline staff. You're looking at your product, your supply chain. The list goes on and on. Sometimes I wonder how CEOs manage to time block and balance all their duties. But I think primarily energy is important because the main goal of the CEO is to drive any organization. And if you don't have positive energy, you're not going to be driving much. Things are going to be stagnant. And I'm a big proponent of growth, and especially exponential growth. Because for me, if something's flatlining and is on par, it might as well be declining. I think in life, you have to keep pushing and keep compounding. And that's where the magic happens. So first off, I wanted to ask, are you naturally like this energetically? Is this something you've had to sort of learn how to do?
Honestly, it came from me. I have to have that passion. If I have that passion in what I'm doing, you're definitely going to hear it in my voice. And that's one of those things you can't get past being genuine. If you can't fake it, you either have to believe it or you don't. And that's that X factor that exists.
Got it. I'm glad you mentioned passion because passion is sort of the natural fuel for people, right? Definitely, if you're not passionate about things, you won't have the internal motivation, to going to work, to getting up every day. Do you think, from your experience, passion has to do with the product directly, or can it also do with a service or a business? So what I mean is like if you have a business, do you have to be passionate about the product itself to get energized? Or can you also be passionate about, the service, the logistics of the business, things like that?
I think it all depends on how you are as a person. For me, in such a career where we're in real estate, it is so interpersonal that you have to either be passionate or you're not going to succeed, in my opinion, at the best level that you can, better said. So there you can be doing things just because they're working, but to be doing them and enjoying your life at the same time, that's something that's intangible.
Got it. So it doesn't matter if you're dealing with the product or the service or the supply chain or the logistics, as long as you're passionate about one of those components, it's okay.
Well, the goal altogether, what are you actually selling? You're not selling the product, you're not selling the service, you're selling the whole thing as a whole. You're selling it in the sense that, just to elaborate, I'm I'm selling something bigger than what it is. We're selling houses. We're selling this big moment in somebody's life, whether it's an investment property or if it's for your home, your own personal home. This is a huge moment and it's impactful past what you're giving to it. It's what I like to say is that I've always wanted to be like a doctor, but I hate blood. I always wanted to have that impact with people and do something that will be a prominent part of their life. And this is something that allows me to do it. And it's very rewarding. I think a lot of realtors, they'll agree that the best deal isn't the one that makes them the most money. It's the one that causes the most emotion, that causes the most impact in that person's life.
No, that's correct. And it's a very interesting way of looking at it because usually, again, I stem the question from limiting it to, passion, product, service, things like that. But you're actually looking at the end goal, and that is what's fueling your passion, right? Because real estate with, people purchasing houses, selling houses, it can be very stressful. It can be very emotional. there's a lot of moving targets, there's a lot of numbers involved, there's a lot of legalities, compliance, and the realtor's job is to come in and make it so simple, to the client, that they don't think about these things, right? Like the realtor actually takes on the stress and the thinking of those attributes, so that they can successfully sell a home or purchase a home within the client's timeline, and also within the features that they want, right?
Yes, that's exactly it. And again, for my role, what I'm here is to make sure that the realtors that we have are able to do this, not handhold, to be the liaison for their clients, be that person who makes the experience, which is a very stressful experience, something enjoyable.
Got it. So would you mind walking us through, so when you first started the position of CEO, I know you had your job functions, in front of you, but how did you sort of tackle that? How did you balance, taking on the task, and what was your first, 30, 60, 90 days like?
It was acclimating. And that's what we do best as realtors. We deal with new things on a daily basis, and we deal with different scenarios, different predicaments, different problems. And it's one step at a time, planning out your days, planning out your weeks. It takes a lot of tracking and structure. And as long as you have that and you have that balance between when to do things, and you have your calendar set up and you have these systems in place, it becomes very easy to transition into something like this because you have a schedule. As simple as that.
Yeah, schedule is very important. I cannot discount the importance of, having your calendar, having your tasks on the calendar, being on top of managing the calendar, right? Looking at the day before you start the day, looking at maybe a weekly outlook, a monthly outlook, and then when you're having vision, you're looking at, years ahead, right? Do you have a typical morning
Yes.
routine like a lot of CEOs do?
In my like personal routine or when I get to work?
Both, I would say, because personal leads into work, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It sets the foundation. Yeah, so I wake up like everybody, have a protein shake, and I actually drive to work. And one thing I've actually started to do is I don't do podcasts, I don't do work calls. In my drive, listen to me, take a moment. Once I do that, then I'm ready to go to work. Second, my calendar hits in, I know exactly what I'm doing. In the morning, I usually do calls. In my job, there's a lot of different aspects that I do. One's retention, recruitment, managing seminars for the following month, getting advertisements out for these seminars, using my staff, of course, so the VAs that I have at my use as well. So it's every day's different, but there's always each part of my job will be taken care of and checked off the list every day. So nothing ever gets left hanging.
Okay, sorry, it cut off when you were mentioning your drive to work. You said you don't do podcasts, you don't do, work stuff. What is it that you do on the drive?
I listen to music and I take the moment.
Really? So just music and capturing the presence, and is that sort of like mindset building?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
That's
it's it's just action. Again, you have a big day ahead of you. You have your calendar set out. There's no you're gonna tackle too much at once. Sometimes the drive to work will actually help you progress when you're at work because you're not stressed out yet. You're not involved in anything because there's going to be storms. So you want to get it started when you're ready to get the day started. You don't want it to be started on your first 30 minutes, 40 minutes of being awake and you're already trying to put out storms, right? Put out fire, sorry.
correct. Yeah. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because, I'm a big fan of podcasts. I consume it like air, just to breathing. And I used to
I'd
sort
hope
of
so.
stress. Yeah, I mean, podcasts have been a great educational piece for me, especially with the way podcasts are these days. You can learn much faster than the traditional textbook method. But I used to actually stress about, finishing the podcast as soon as I could. And my drive to work is maybe, 10 minutes. And if I was starting a podcast, I would also continue it during that 10-minute drive. And what I've actually done very recently, probably within the last week or so, is I've not done that. Like you're saying, coming from a previous life as a musician, my goal now is to put on a song that I've not heard before. So every day I'm challenging myself on that drive to work. I mean, coming back to a different story, but on that drive to work is put on an artist, an album, a style that I've not heard before. That's one of my commitments for exponential compounding of learning, new music. And again, it just sets the mood. It's got absolutely nothing to do with what I do at work. But I think you're right. It sort of sets the stage for clearing your mind. And then once you open that door into the office and dealing with, the fires and storms, it makes for a good balance.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you have any tips for developing your mindset? Because, with being a CEO, you cannot vary with the wind, right? Like there's going to be different challenges coming at you, different needs of the staff, the organization, of the work itself, and you cannot be distracted. You have to be completely focused. And I imagine there's a lot of things you cannot take personally, because if you do, it's going to deflect you and distract you to other areas. And you have to keep your focus, your mission, your vision aligned and on board. Is there anything you do to develop a strong mindset?
Honestly, it's simple. I just remember what my goals are. I have my accountability, and as long as I'm on the right track, I'm progressing. And you got to think of the things as the half cup full, not the half cup empty. Otherwise, again, like I said, there's always going to be issues. There's always going to be things that you have to accomplish, but that's what makes the goals that much sweeter. So remembering at those moments where you're very, very nervous about what's going to go and what's going to happen, those moments are the ones where you remember why you're doing it. The why has 10 times more impact than what's wrong.
Correct. Yeah. And we've heard a lot about when you get to your why, keep going on the why, right? Like, why did you this? And when you answer again, why did you do why the answer, keep going till you get to your central why, I guess. When
Yeah.
you have a problem or a challenge that you have to face, and maybe it's something new, you don't have previous experience in that, how do you tackle that? Do you have mentors or counselors that you seek, or do you go on the internet, or do you go research, or what's your strategy for that, to solving that new issue that comes up?
Again, right? We're in a very interpersonal company, the Keller Williams. We learn from each other. So we have weekly meetings with other CEOs of different branches, and we collaborate. So again, I love to say this, that if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. This is one of those moments where it stands. If you have a challenge and you don't know the answer, and you're the only person in the room, you know what I mean? You're gonna have to figure it out all on your own. But if you have 9, 10 people that you're seeing every week to hold yourself accountable and to bounce ideas off of and to solve problems, 10 minds and 9 minds are gonna be better than one, 9 times out of 10.
That's very true. And because one person can only think one dimensionally, and then when you have the many, variety of minds in the room, you're brainstorming different ideas, and then I'm sure you can get a solution from something like that.
Yeah.
Have you noticed a pattern? Because I know, you're CEO of the Advantage franchise, but then you also stand in with some other franchises. Have you noticed patterns of what the realtors need and want in terms of guidance from leadership? Because again, a realtor position, it's you're self-employed, you're your own boss essentially. So you should be motivating yourself, strategizing yourself. But then at the end of the day, you still need some sort of forward leadership, some core culture leadership. And this could be values, it could be ethics, anything. Have you noticed some patterns of what people maybe expect from leadership?
Yes, honestly, everybody expects something different, and that's the fun thing about what we do, is that there's always something new to implement. It's all about finding that. Again, we're sticking back to this. I feel like it's a key word that we today is balance. So what we know now is it's not a great time for real estate. It's a little bit slower and there's a lot less movement. So in these times, realtors would want one thing versus when it's a thriving market, they're going to want something else. So being able to have that relationship is the first thing that you need to do because it's going to keep you in the know agents and what they want, what they need, because it constantly changes.
Okay, and the relationship is with the staff themselves.
Yes, the realtors. Yes.
Sorry, it's an open door policy.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I'm here for them anytime. They can book meetings with me. We have also, of course, we have other staff as well. We have mentors. We have business planning people that will help them develop their business plan, 5-year plan, 3-year plan, get their goals. The ultimate goal for Keller Williams is to offer them an opportunity to do what they want to do in this space. There's no right answer. You're self-employed. If you want to build a team, we can help support you in that. If you want to be the best solo agent, we can help support you in that. We can give you the foundation that's required and show you examples of what other people have done and bounce their ideas off of yours, similar to when we're having challenges and we speak to our group about them to come up with a solution together. So it's always a collaborative, and that's that part that I find is lacking very much in some brokerages that really that unite us.
No, that's very true. And we come from many years ago where the executive team was, put up in the ivory office and the employees were very distant from them. They didn't have the open door policy. And we're seeing more and more of that where, the executive team is maybe on the same floor as the employees. And that relationship, which you're speaking about, is really important because it has to be a two-way street and it has to be efficient also. Like if you have a question, you should have the answer right away. Because again, business happens at the speed of thought, right? If there's any delay with communication, that's going to delay the success of the business. In terms of balance, like work-life balance, are you very strict with that, or are you balancing as it goes along? Because you're dealing with family and friends, and you're also dealing with the demands of the business. And being CEO, you don't really have the regular 9 to 5 hours, right? Any thoughts on that?
Like I've been in real estate for a little while now, and what I'll say is that I don't work 9 to 5. No, I work when I'm needed, and depending on the importance of the what's being brought to me is whether I'll answer in the 9 a.m. or if I'm going to answer to them right away. So if I get an email at 7 p.m. and it says urgent, I'm not going to ignore it. It's something that, again, I do what I love and I love what I do. So my goal here is to make sure everybody's happy and we have a good culture around us. So if I'm putting people down because I'm tired, it's not going to work out. Of course, if I'm busy and I can't work with it, I'll have a solution or a directory to put them to as well. So there's a chain of command, like we said, right? So there's always different outlets that you can use if I'm not available. And if I, even when I am available, there's still people here that are here to support you that are in a better position.
And that'll be with the team leaders, the sales leaders as well, right?
Yes, yes. So we have our mentor, we have our accountability groups, we have our Facebook group, we have the OP, which is the operating principal, we have the broker of record. So there's different pillars. We have the Associate Leadership Council, which is essentially the voice for the agents. So they hold meetings every month and they talk about what the agents want and what the agents need. And it's a way of giving them a say in how the business is run.
Got it. Okay. With mentorship, like personally, is there any mentors that have influenced you over the years, be them, famous people or not so famous people that have really, changed how you think about things? Any comments on that?
You know what? I actually just did. I just heard something from someone. I'm not sure their last name. Her name was Lisa. She. I wish I could find the last name, but she was She spoke about the valley and the communication panel essentially. So there's your how how you're doing that connection. The way to connect with people is what you're doing that's amazing, how you conquered what you went through, why you should listen to me. So it was a very cool system where it's the genuine that like I'm coming back to that word genuine, and it's hey, like I know I've done X in sales. There's a certain point where I was debating real estate, and I don't know what happened in this moment that created this huge drive in me to push, and I succeeded. And now this is how I do it. And this is how I did it, and this is how you should do it. So it's that connection to, okay, this is how they are. They're successful right now. What led to this? Was there a moment where they had that doubt in their mind? Or were they always this successful? And that's that part where you get to build the connection in the lows, ironically, is where you build that connection, that understanding, like, okay, so this is something that I can do as well. And then this is what you should do. And you build that trust in them by letting them know, being that vulnerable about your story, that that the what you should do is more comprehensible by them. It's more they'll understand it more because they believe in what you are saying. And building that trust between yourself and your client or your friend and your spouse even. That's what will make a long-lasting relationship. And we're in a career that requires long-standing relationships.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, everything's built on trust because people are putting thousands of dollars and, the emotional vulnerability into your hands, right? And entrusting you to do the correct thing, based on your experience, and also do, the best thing as well, right? And the solutions,
Yeah.
like from what you're saying with the valleys, like that could differ, right, depending on the situation and the context.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm reminded. I think just recently I saw something on the internet where someone had asked Jeff Bezos. I think it was a kid, um, Jeff Bezos from Amazon, what he does when something stressful happens. And he said his first thing is to go to look for a solution for it. Because if you just let it linger, it's not going to go away, right? The problem's not going to go away. So his thing is, in terms of overcoming any challenges or, issues that come up, go find the solution for it. And just by going to find the solution for it, you immediately reduce the stress, right? Because you're trying to solve something. I wanted to
Yeah.
ask, with Keller Williams, again, it was founded by Gary Keller, Joe Williams, and Gary Keller's written the books Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Millionaire Real Estate Investor, The One Thing. And the culture with Keller Williams is it's very energetic. You can see, the colors from the branches, the sales seminars, coaching that you'll have. Everything is very vibrant. What have you taken from the Keller Williams culture that has sort of maybe affected your mindset?
It's that mentality to not just dream big and have big goals, but have a plan of action to get to those goals. And it's not about hitting the goal, it's about getting as close as humanly possible that you are able to do it. So even if you're striving for something huge, you're going to keep striving for it, and it's not going to deter anything. It's going to keep elevating you. It's going to keep you pushing to do harder and do more. If you have a small goal and you hit it, your motivation is going to get shot.
So think big, right?
Think big, dream big, and plan it out. hold yourself accountable. You can have a gigantic goal. You can have the biggest goal. I want to make $100 million by 2030, let's say. Okay, how are you going to do that? I need to make X dollars a year for this many years. How am I going to do this? Investments. So having an actual map, a roadmap to how you're going to get to there, it's like anything. It's like math, right? You have the answer, you can solve for A and B, right? So it's
Correct.
just about having the whole roadmap of how you're going to get there and how you're going to accomplish these big goals. And if you're shooting to get that big goal, you're going to hit these little goals along the way,
Yeah,
and you're going to be motivated.
that's a really good point because we dream, and dreaming is very abstract, and it is great. It's great to dream. Start with the imagination, but the path to that goal or that dream is not black and white, right? It's basically logistics, like you're saying. So then, by having this schedule that you have, by having the goals written out, you're actually doing the math from point A to point B. And that's really half the battle, is calculating that path. And if you set the bar so high, like you're saying, even if you do fall a little bit short, it's okay. It doesn't, always have to be something that's absolute, right?
Yeah.
And then if you set it really high, if you want to make that 100 million, if you end up at 90 million, that's okay. Because,
Yeah.
that 10 million shortage, it's not the end of the world. And, like people like Elon Musk also, he's dealing with science, for his work with Tesla, with SpaceX, he has to deal with ones and zeros. Like if his goal is 100, it has to be 100. Otherwise that technology will fail. But, the way he looks at a company, it's basically what is the net result. So if you have gross effort, right? And then you aim to achieve that, but you fall a little bit short, you have that, the net result of that effort, it's still okay. And chances are, if you've got the plan, like you're saying, you can accomplish much, much more than just sort of, being fueled by that vision and going there without that plan in place. Like some people do that, they just hope for the best, but then you need the GPS to get there.
Yeah.
What,
The follow through.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the follow through. Exactly. You can dream big all you want, but if the lights are off, you're probably going to go the wrong way. Right?
Yeah. And if I can ask you finally, now that you've reached this stage, you seem to have a really good grasp on, position of a CEO. You've got your goal set, you've got your mindset set, you've got the game plan. How do you take things to the next level? Is it based on what you want, on what the organization wants? Because sometimes the organization might not know what it wants, right? So for the next X number of years, what's your thoughts on taking things to the next level, both for yourself and the organization?
Yeah, well, this is where I'd like to say is where you have to do your planning. I jumped into this company and I went in understanding that we're looking towards the same direction. We're heading in the same path. And my goals and their goals are very much aligned. And that's how I know that over the time that we're doing it, we're going to accomplish a lot together. So it's not so much of getting my goals and their goals. How am I going to manage both of them? Our goals are heading in the same way, and we're going to be, as long as we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to be successful in this.
Got it. No, that's amazing. And I just want to highlight again what you first said about passion. Always look for the end result, because until you said that, I mean, even till today, I was always thinking, okay, is it product? Is it service? Is it logistics? I mean, I know the end result is a byproduct of that, but I think if you focus on the end result, then you'll hit all the goals that you have, and anything in between, which is the product, service, logistics, no matter how good they are, no matter how bad they are, it won't matter, because it's that end result that matters. So thanks again. I really appreciate you coming on the show. And if people want to get in touch with you, is there any way they can reach you, or on social, or?
Yeah, they can reach me at Roberto Real Estate.ca, or sorry, let me check my tagline for my Instagram. We're looking at robertocarroll.realestate.
Okay, amazing. And I'll put those in the show notes as well. So thanks again. I really appreciate it. And I wish you well.
No worries. Thanks for having me. Eh? Have a good one. Take care.